Some military veterans say their needs have been neglected by government. They voiced their grievances over proper housing at a dialogue with the Human Settlements Minister, Lindiwe Sisulu, earlier this week. Even though many have received houses after promises to better their lives, others are still waiting. We take this discussion further. We joined in our studios in Johannesburg by one of the veterans, Velly Mabotja, as well as the Acting Director General from the Department of Military Veterans, Max Ozinsky. Good morning to both of you, and thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you, Palisa.
Maybe you can start by giving us a proper understanding and a proper meaning of a veteran.
Yes, when we're talking about veteran, there is a criteria we use. A certain age, you qualify to be a veteran. Thereafter, they put you in the system where they allocate you, and then they take care of about yourself and maybe the needs, you understand. So now the thing is that the department, first of all, it never have a proper system. It was Tom and Dick and Harry they put there, instead of putting the right people there. Now in the system, people that don't get their benefits because of what somebody who's supposed to be in the system is not in the system, is outside. Whereas somebody who's not supposed to be in the system is inside.
There, yeah.
And it's vice versa.
Dr. Max, let me just bring you into the conversation. What is happening? Because I remember, I think it was in 2013, the department appealed to the veterans to come forward and be on their database. So he's complaining about the system. What is the problem?
The database is made up of the former members of the apartheid armies and then the former members of the liberation movement armies. And there's difficulties at times in verifying who from the liberation movement side qualified to be on the database. There are problems with the database. We have a database at the moment of about 75,000 former veterans. And we really encourage people to engage with the department if they feel they should be on the database, and also if they feel that they're people who don't belong on the database. We are busy with a process, one, to put a better system in place for the database, but also to verify the names that are on the database.
But are you able as the department to track the veterans here in South Africa?
Well, those that are on the database, we are generally able to track them as long as they help us to update the information. But the problem comes, as Dr. Mabotja says, with those who are not on the...
But it looks like the system is very slow. In 2013, you had 57,000 registered veterans on your database. And you're talking about 70,000 now, which is 4 years later?
Yeah, look, in fact, the number of military veterans should not be increasing. It should be decreasing as we get older and we pass away. But there are definitely those who are not on the database, but the numbers that are not on the database are not huge. I would estimate them at around somewhere 5,000 to 10,000 who might not be on the database.
Dr. Mabotja, I just want us to go back a little and talk to us about your life story, how you ended up getting into the military, and how your life has changed ever since you got back to South Africa.
My life is still there. I've not changed, Palisa. I thought when coming back home, we'll find things change. You understand?
What were your expectations? What change are you talking about?
Change I was expecting when I come back home, people will be free, people will enjoy what we fight for, and we have never privileged to go to school, but we go to the bush, you understand? And then now when we come back, still the same. Yes, they've tried, the military were trying to speed up, to take care of us. One, first is health. It's cover only me, not my spouse and not my children. Secondly, it's about burial. Can I make an example about you? Let's say I marry you and you passed away, I'm not working. So the military veteran is not going to bury you. You see the problem there. It's only cover me. Okay,
so the benefits are just for the veterans themselves, not their families.
Yes, but now again, it's vice versa, because when it comes to education, the children, only the children, maybe your child want to go to school, then they can take him up to varsity, whatever, will understand. So it doesn't make us happy, you understand. They try to meet us halfway, but it go on a snail pace, you understand. Again, their system, there are people who are getting SRT, you are not supposed to get SRC, but they are working. So their system, they must try. If Palliser is working, if they put Palliser, they punch it, you must try to trace Palliser quickly. No, Palliser is working and is getting so much. So they send you a letter that you are not qualified to get this money. You understand? And again, we have 9 provinces. Can you imagine somebody come from Cape Town, going to Pretoria, and is unemployed, that person?
Yeah.
You know how pile work of that. Instead of opening all the offices in Cape Town, in Bloemfontein, in Mpumalanga, in Durban, you understand? So can you imagine working with 20,000 people and you are calling there? So you have to leave that system and carry on the phone. You see, they must open another call center where people can call. And those call centers, there must be people there. People are calling there all day. There's no response.
Yeah. So do you feel like you're a burden to government instead of being celebrated as a hero, someone who took part in the struggle? Is that how you feel now?
Yes, and this thing of becoming a beggar, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I fight for this and I won't ask it. It's mine. It's not a privilege. It's mine.
It's a right.
It's a right.
How do you respond to that? These are some of the concerns that even came out when the Human Settlement Minister was interacting with them during this week. So it looks like there's still a long way to go. What is the way forward now?
Well, let me first say that unfortunately the department was only established 5 years ago. So there was a gap from 1994 to 2010 where there wasn't attention paid to military veterans. So we're trying to catch up in that regard. We do have some successes. For instance, our education support, we're supporting about 9,000 beneficiaries, 8 to 9,000 beneficiaries, which are children mainly of military veterans. But we have many issues, some of the issues which Tata Mabotja has raised. We are trying to deal with those issues. For instance, with regard to the call center, we've just in the last few weeks shifted our call center into our department. We've put our own officials there, so we're hoping to provide a better service. We're looking at the officers, but there's a lot of work still to be done to properly honor the veterans.
I'm afraid due to time constraints we'll leave it at that, but this is one thorny issue. I believe that we'll revisit it again. Thank you so much for coming through. Thank you so much. That is the Department of Military Veterans Acting Director General, Mr. Max Ozinsky, together with the National Department of, together with one of the veterans, Lindiwe Velly. Mabotja talking to us about some of the concerns that the veterans still have here in South Africa, 23 years after democracy. Let's take a break here on Morning Live. When we come back, we'll give you some news in relation to the World Economic Forum on Africa.